Welcome to Breakfast with Unity, your morning Unity exercise regimen. So, today we're going to be doing a pretty simple but useful script. We're going to be doing a grid spawner, which just allows you to spawn things in a grid, in a uniform manner. So, and then we're just going to play with it. So, what we're going to... I changed the camera right now. Okay. What we're going to be doing is we're going to start making that script. So, let's create a new C# script, and let's not put it inside add explosion force. Let's put this outside of there. How do I put it outside of one of these? In between. There we go. So, we're going to rename this to GridSpawner. And I'm going to double click it, and we're going to have to rename it. And I need to get rid of this thing. We're going to have to rename it here too because I had already named it new behavior script. So grid spawner. This always has to match, otherwise Unity as an editor won't let you use the scripts the way you expect. Like you won't be able to attach them to a game object. So we're going to have a few variables here. So we're going to do public float. Actually, public int. Let's just do these as separate things. So number. Sorry, what do I want to call these? Let's see. Size X. Actually, no. Number of objects. Let's just do X, Y, and Z. My brain's not on this morning, so public int Y, public int Z, and what these will represent actually is num objects X. That's what we're going to call it. Num objects Y and Z. And then we're going to do public, yeah, let's just start with that and see what we got. So we're going to just start spawning these things. And what we're going to do is, this is just going to be in start. We just want to spawn this grid together. And what we're going to do is for int x equals 0, X is less than num objects. Why is it not auto-completing for me? Num objects X, and these should be semicolons. Yeah, I did not have enough sleep last night. Int X equals 0, X is less than num objects X, X plus plus. So this will iterate over our X's, and we're just going to do the same thing over the Y's nested in here. And we're going to do the same thing over the Z's nested in here. So, except for we just need to change this to int Y, and num objects Y, Y plus plus, and int Z, num objects, wait, we need Z and Y, almost missed one of them, and num objects Z and Z plus plus. So does that look right? X, 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 Y, 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 Z, 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 Z. Looks good. So, what we're going to be doing then is instantiating. Oh, we need the object that we're going to build these things out of. So let's do public game object. Let's call this object to spawn once again. So object spawn, instantiate, object spawn. Transform.position plus. So this is where it gets fun. So we need to use these variables to reposition these appropriately. So if we just did transform.position, we would put X times Y times Z objects in the same space. And so here we need to offset them in the X, Y, and Z directions. And so we're going to do transform.position plus transform dot right So this will be x, so times num objects x plus. So this represents a vector, and we're going to be adding more vectors to it. And so if we add all 3 vectors in the 3 directions, we'll have the final z position that we want. So this is offsetting from the transform position. We're going to be adding all 3 vectors. So the other 3 vectors just will look exactly the same as this. So we're just going to do same deal here. Right x. This one's going to be up y, and this one's going to be forward z. And then we just need the rotation, which we're just going to use quaternion.identity for right now. Quaternion.identity. So let's save that and see what we get. So if we put this on a empty game object, and we put GridSpawner on here, and we already have a cube somewhere here, don't we? Yeah, we do. I guess we should just always have fresh, just in case we don't want to mess up other projects in case we did something special to our cube. So we're going to create a cube, 3D object cube. We're just going to prefab it once again, and this is what we're going to be spawning with our GridSpawner. And so we're going to do GridSpawner. We're going to put object spawn in here. Whoops, no. Cube is what we want. We don't want to spawn the script. That would be interesting. And let's just set this to 0, 0, 0 for right now. And we'll see if we got close to what we wanted. So if we now... So I should have put some good default values here. So let's do equals... let's do equals 1 by default, because then at least it will spawn 1 object. This, of course, will not update these. We can if we hit reset. If we just do reset here, it will reset to the new values, but that means we lose our cube. So we're just going to do num objects x, y, z. So this should just spawn 1 object. Let's make sure that that's actually the case. So we got 1 cube. Perfect. Just making sure that we're not like over spawning. And let's put a directional light in the scene so that we have better lighting. And let's actually bump this number up now. So we're going to do like, let's do 10 by 10 by 10. Play. Alright, so didn't quite work. They all ended up in the exact same place. Oh, and that's because we did the offsets here, but we did num objects x, which is not what we wanted. That was silly of me. We actually just want x. So we want we weren't using the variables here at all. So we want x times transform right times x, transform up times y, and transform forward times z. So let's hit save. Hit play. Let's see how it does this time. There we go. This is more what I was expecting. So we have this block, and it's actually made up of individual smaller blocks. And it's in that we expected. So I think it is, at least. We did 5, right? This looks actually wrong, doesn't it? Because if we did... So, game object, we did 10. Okay, that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4... Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. I'll take what it'll give me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Cool. So yes, this is 10 by 10 by 10. Looks pretty legit. So cool. So we now have this really solid block and stuff, but you can use this also to create planes very easily. Like if you just wanted to create a surface or a wall that was made up, so let's make a wall. A wall would just be Z1, and then we hit play, and then we have just a wall. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do the 10 by 10 by 10 again, just because for fun. And what are we going to do? So I said we'd do some fun with this, so let's do, let's call this, let's call it Force Ball, no, let's call it, GridSpawner, Unity. And we're going to call this, GridSpawner, so that it's not just an empty game object. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Okay, so the one problem with this is we don't take object size into account, and we don't take object spacing into account. So what we should do is we should have variables for that real quick. So we're going to create... let's just do a vector 3. Vector public vector 3. And what we want is object spacing. Equals vector 3.1. This is a good default value. This is what we're currently doing. And then all we're going to do is we're going to additionally multiply this by the length of a object. So this would be object spacing dot x, and we throw this in here. Whoops, I didn't put multiply, and then we do dot y, and then we do one more dot z. So now if we hit save and we go back, if we hit play, this should work exactly the same way it did before, but we can now adjust this. So if we do like 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, and hit play, so now we have this exploded cube, which looks kind of cool. So fun stuff, fun times. So let's actually do something exciting now. I'm going to put this back to 1, 1, and 1, and we're going to save project. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give the cubes rigid bodies. We're going to do physics rigid body, and we're going to have use gravity enabled, and they're not going to be kinematic, and we're going to create a plane, and I'm going to go ahead and create a put our first person controller in here for playing around. Let's go 0, 0, 0, and put this up at like 3. Then we want the plane to be 0, 0, 0. And I'm going to put the grid spawner, because this will spawn directly on the grid for them, I want to actually put it just on top of it. So we want to move the grid spawner up 0.5, because our cubes are 1 unit high. So 0.5. So that is up, right? Yeah, okay. So let's also make the plane bigger. So we're going to do 10 by 10. And let's put the grid spawner, let's put the player back a little bit. We're just going to move the first person controller back. And we're going to hit play. And in theory, we should have a bunch of cubes. Oh, okay. Now this is a little bit more dicey as far as it's running a little slow, just because that's a lot of physics objects that are just kind of sitting there. But they are actually working. We can't test them right this second. So let's actually make something that will test these. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new script. Anything on this show yet? That's amazing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create. Wait, do we have any spawn things? Spawn randomly? Yeah, we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this shoot. This is one of the most basic scripts. We've written this a couple times on the main show, but shoot, and we're going to call this. Actually, let's call it what it actually is. Spawn on input. Actually, let's call it button. And let's actually reopen it again. Spawn on button, and all we're going to do is create a public game object to spawn, and public float public string button name equals fire1. And then all we're going to do is, in our update loop, we're going to if button name, whoops, if input dot get button down button name, instantiate object to spawn transform dot position. Oh, give me the lowercase one that time. That was so nice. And quaternion dot identity, because we don't really care about the orientation. Actually, no. Let's do transform dot forward on this one. This makes more sense. Transform dot forward. Actually, no. Sorry. Transform dot rotation. So inherit is parent's rotation. So we're gonna hit save, and we're going to put this on our first-person controller. I'm just gonna put it. I'm going to create a new game object real quick. Just create empty. We're going to put it in here. We're going to set it to 0, 0, and then I'm just going to put 1 in the Z, so it should be just in front of our camera. And we're going to put spawn on button here. And then we need to spawn something. So what I was going to do is we're going to create an empty game object. We're going to, on our add explosion force, we're going to put continuous explosion force on here. I'm going to call this force ball, and I'm going to give it a sphere renderer real quick. So we're just going to do mesh filter and mesh renderer, and then we put the sphere in here. This is the way you manually set up a renderer, and then we have to give it some sort of material. So I'm just going to hit here and do default material, default diffuse. Actually, let's not do default diffuse. Let's very quickly. I'm going to go over a little bit. I don't care. Create shader. No, material. Transparent diffuse. So we're just going to set this thing to transparent diffuse. We're going to give it an alpha value that's kind of low, so that we can at least see the bounds of the sphere. And we're going to put this on our force ball. So now we have this transparent ball. So our force ball we're going to configure so that it has continuous explosion, radius 5, sure, why not? So that means we're going to scale our ball up 5 so that it'll match. That's, is that right? Well, that might not even be right enough. Let's go ahead and actually make the radius 3, and then so scale, so radius, yeah, so scale 3. It should, and we don't have a collider or anything, so this thing is just going to be operating with the continuous explosion thing. And what are we doing? We want to now make this into a ball. Let's do force ball. Let's put this in here, and oh yeah, we need a move forward script. Do we have move forward? Move forward. No, we don't. Real quick, this is a fast script, I swear. Script light yesterday, script heavy today. So move forward. Double click this, and we're going to do public float speed equals 1.0f. And all we're going to do is update this as a one-liner. Transform.position plus equals transform.forward times speed times time dot delta time. There we go. That's the whole thing. Save. We put this on our force ball. Delete the force ball. Oh wait, no. Apply that. Delete the force ball. It's going to be a very slow moving force ball. And we have it so that we spawn things. So I'm going to put force ball in here. And then once we're finally done with all this, we should be able to play now. So I'm going to hit play. And it's going to, the physics are going to settle a bit. So it's running a little slow right now. But, and then we hit fire. And our extremely slow moving force ball. There it goes. let's make that force ball just a little bit faster, and then let's call it an episode. I'm going to put 5, so we're just going to blow it through somewhere. I'm also going to make the force higher. And let's also give it some upwards. Let's give it like, let's give it upwards of like 5. I don't know what this actually means, but let's find out. So let's do 200 force and do it. So here we go. Let it settle a little bit and fire. There we go. Fun little force ball. Save scene, save project. Let's call that a wrap. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, email me pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me @dragfire. Support us on Patreon, Cooking with Unity. And I'll catch you tonight with more Fight Go Right on 2D Thursday. Have a great one.